Well, actually, I'm going to start with Kamala.
Oh, all right, even better. Let me get the right graphic. She needs a new translator. Show me why, man. I need a laugh at 5:30 in the morning. Come on, man.
Well, why would you laugh? I mean, this is serious stuff. Okay, so now listen. This is actually very good news for all of us. Yesterday, the communications director for the Kamala office announced a new interpreter/translator for Kamala. And they released a video demonstrating how this new translator will work. So let's take a look at their official press release.
Imaginations, and it forces us to ask big questions. Space, it affects us all, and it connects us all. The governor and I, and we were all doing a tour of the library here, and talking about the significance of the passage of time, right? The significance of the passage of time. So when you think about it, there is great significance to the passage of time in terms of what we need to do to lay these wires, what we need to do to create these jobs. And there is such great significance to the passage of time when we think about a day in the life of our children.
You guys are gonna see, you're gonna literally see the craters on the moon with your own eyes.
Oh my goodness.
With your own eyes, I'm telling you, it is gonna be unbelievable. So that's one of the things we can do here too, which makes it so exciting.
Is there something wrong with her? Like, all jokes aside, is there something wrong? Because no one speaks like that.
Well, at least we'll never have to worry again about understanding Kamala. At least now we know that we will get the full translation, the proper translation. So that's good. That's good to know. It just goes to show that the best person for the job does not necessarily make it to the top in politics.
That's an example of someone failing upwards, right?
There you go. And I have a very strong opinion about how she got to where she is, but this is a family-related show, so I won't go into that topic. But and I think she's a classic, example of how tribalism has taken over politics, and it doesn't matter what your actual skill set is to be president. It's more a matter of which boxes do you check. She was brought in because she was a black woman. What kind of black, anyway? But she was
no meritocracy there at all.
No, I mean, why bother? Why bother with it? It's all about identity politics. Do you check the right boxes? And we suffer, and we see what happens when you promote people on basis of identity politics rather than meritocracy. We no longer should be saying he's the first black president, she's the first black. That should not matter.
It doesn't matter.
And when you put those hyphenated, words in, Black American, African American, Indian American, hyphenated American should disappear. You're American, and every time they use that hyphenated, description for anybody, they diminish that person. So say, he's an African American doctor. Why did you say that? Why don't you just call him a doctor? Why? Why diminish the person? And if I were a minority, and the way our country is going, I might be a minority in a couple of years. Minorities should resent that. They should resent identity politics. Anyway, so.
When I was growing up, Ed, I was in I played football. I played sport like all Aussie kids do. And as I was playing sport, I played rugby league, and all of the team, bar about 4 or 5 of them, there's 4 or 5 Lebanese kids in my team, really good football players as well. And, we kind of came up through the grades together. We played footy, we played reps together, and all of those sort of things are just pretty normal. And as my son, Travis, started to play soccer, so he got interested in that. He was probably 9 or 10. And he played for a couple of years. I think he played for about 3 or 4 years. But he ended up as the white Aussie kid. In one generation between me and my son, the whole thing had flipped completely. And maybe because of where he lived, because he lived with his mum in Western Sydney, but all of the kids in the soccer team were either African or Indian. And there was only like 2 other white kids in the team. But no one was like, oh, there's African kids here in the team. They're just like, oh, they're just kids. Like there is no divisiveness like that. And in so many ways, Australia is the only example of a country in the world where multiculturalism actually works. Because here in Australia, people just don't really care where you come from. If you're from Lebanon and your family escaped the war in the 1980s there, then you're just as Australian as some convict that came here in Australia in the 1800s. Like the whole country is based on immigration, and everybody here knows that. And multiculturalism by itself really is a segregation of society where cultures stay to themselves and they stick to themselves.
Yeah.
But there's no way that you could possibly do that because societies are completely integrated, because people work together, they go to school together, they study together, they party together, and all of these things that bring societies together. Here in Australia, particularly in Sydney, it's a melding pot of nationalities and different people and stuff, and I think it works incredibly well. It's an incredibly vibrant place, and there is no, in my view at least, in my anecdote, there's no divisiveness. Like, I hear the divisiveness in your voice, and I know that really grinds your gears when you see someone like Kamala Harris in, the second most important job in the country, and she made it there. She failed upwards because of what she looks like. It's like ridiculous. Who cares what you look like? I don't care if you look like an alien from Mars.
That's
It doesn't matter what you look like. What matters is that your ability to do the job. And what's worse with the Kamala Harris stuff, all jokes aside, she's been handed the border, and the border has been an absolute disaster. But these Democrats are playing a long game in your country, man, because
sure.
at some point there's going to come a thing to say that anyone that's come here to the United States, if you vote for the Republicans, they're going to kick you out.
Well, yeah.
So you got to vote for us. We're not going to kick you out. We're going to let you stay.
Well, what makes you think the border is a disaster? Why? I mean,
The dead bodies in the river, the children on their own. I don't know.
You ask your typical Democrat, and they view it as a success. This is by design. They want this. Oh yeah, this is by design. This is so that's a whole different topic. We can talk about another time. And we did talk about it. We did do a border segment, a few days ago. People should go back and watch that. But listen, kids aren't born racist. Racism is learned. It's taught to you by your adults and by society.
Do you think America is a racist society? Is that your experience?
No. The vast majority of Americans are not racist.
And you haven't really experienced that?
What else do we have to do to prove it? We elected a black president, for crying out loud.
Yeah.
What more do we have to do? This is what I like is the permanent, the professional victimhood of a certain class out there. These are people who have agendas, and part of their cynical agenda is to divide people. So division is part of a plan. It's part of this is how they get power. Okay, you're a victim, and the only way for you not to be a victim is to elect someone like me, is to give me power so that I can look out for you. And that's the narrative that they I'm with Martin Luther King all the way. Judge a person by the content of their character, not the color of their skin. The amount of melanin you have in your skin should not matter.